feminist group. Didn't trade her apron in for a suit. She stayed home and raised my brothers and me. Now some people might call her crazy, and some magazine might say she's lazy, but I got some words that I like to speak. If the world had a mama like mine, there'd be no more hate and love all the time, man. There'd be no kids sleeping in our streets. If the world had a mama like mine, there'd be a lot more dancing, a lot more laughing, and abortion would be a word we didn't speak. If the world had a mama like mine.
I like to draw with mommy.
I like going for a walk with you.
I like cooking with you and watching movies with you.
I like making stuff with my mom, and I like making crafts with mom. I'll go shop.
Do you love Mama?
I guess.
Okay, say Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. Okay, say Happy Mother's Day.
I like when Mama takes us to the church.
Play with toys. And she'll play like toys.
I do crafts with my mom. I like to take a walk at the park with mom.
I really like doing crafts with her. She always helps me when I get stuck on some things.
What do you like doing with mommy, Jeremy? Huh? Okay.
Having fun with you.
Okay.
See you every single day. Snuggle. I love it when we go to the store with you.
I wanna go at the playground with mommy.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day, moms.
Happy Mother's Day! Happy Mother's Day! Happy Mother's Day!
If the world had a mama like mine, more praying and more staying, and we'd love our neighbor like we love ourselves. If the world had a mama.
Today is a special day, and we wanted to make it a special broadcast and a special video because Mother's Day, there's no other day like it. There's nobody like Mom. We're going to be hearing from our First Lady. She's going to be speaking to us from her heart, some of the things that have been going on in our lives. I know Sister Jenkins, our Ladies Director, is going to be talking to you, and today is going to be a special day, and we hope you enjoy Mother's Day at the POY.
Praise the Lord, everyone, and happy Mother's Day. I wish that we were all together at church today to celebrate together. I miss you all so much. I miss worshiping with you, and I just want to hug your necks. But here we are with the stay-at-home order still in place, so you're in my living room right now, and I just want to say Happy Mother's Day. I've been thinking a lot about Mother's Day and thinking a lot about mothers, and motherhood definitely has its challenges, and there's no rule book. And it seems like as soon as you have something figured out, everything changes. And here we are with another change. Schools are closed, daycares are closed, people are having to work from home with their kids at home. So shout out to all you moms who are at home right now with young kids. My heart's with you, my prayers are with you, and you all are champions right now. So everything changes. I also want to shout out to all the moms of grown kids who have kids of their own and you can't visit them, you can't see your grandbabies. My heart is with you as well, and there will be a time and a season where you'll be back together again. So it is going to be a definite interesting Mother's Day, one for the record books, but let's make the best of it. So I've been thinking a lot about being a mom, and it makes me think about the very first time that I became a mom. And when I held my son for the first time and took him home, I couldn't stop holding him and I couldn't stop staring at him. I remember the first time that I drove with him by myself in the car. I think I drove 15 miles an hour, and I was looking in my rearview mirror into his little mirror that reflected his face, so that I was watching him constantly. And when my other two children came along, I felt the same way about them. I just wanted to protect them. And I think that's something that's bred into being a mother. It comes with the territory of wanting to protect your children. And I did all the things that a mom does. I grew 2 eyes in the back of my head, and I would watch my kids wherever they were. I had supersonic mom ears that would hear everything that they were doing. And, you know, if it got quiet, I knew that something was probably going on, but I could also hear a cry in the middle of the night, and it would wake me instantly. I always had my hugs and kisses ready and always carried a first aid kit. So I felt like I was good and I was protecting my kids. And then one day, I think, I can't even think about how many years ago, maybe 7 years ago. It was a summer day, and I was babysitting some kids from church as well as having my own children. And we had just gone to the park, and we came home and came inside. And as we were coming up our back steps to come into the house, my middle son, Joshua, who was about 5 at the time, slipped through the railing, between the railing and the steps, and he fell backwards and hit his head and went unconscious. And in that moment, I saw him falling, and I tried to grab for him. I ran down the steps as fast as I could. I kind of scooped him up. I called to the other children to bring me my phone. We called 911. My neighbors had heard the commotion and came over and took care of my other children while we went to the hospital. But it was a very scary time, and he's fine now. He had a concussion. He had to stay overnight in the hospital, which any parent who's had a child go through any type of experience like that in hospital, it's scary. And when it was all said and done, I would say for months afterwards, I relived that moment. And I played it over and over in my mind, every time wishing that I could have somehow foreseen it, reached for him faster, got a hold of his hand and prevented it from happening, because I just didn't want to see my child hurt. I wanted to protect him, and I felt as though I had failed. And it was in that moment that I realized that I can't always protect him and I can't always be in control, but there is one who is in control, and that's Jesus. And so I realized that I had to let go. And a big part of being a parent is you love them and you care for them and you raise them, and then you start letting go of control. But that doesn't mean that you just throw up your hands and say good luck. You put them at the feet of Jesus every single day and you pray. So I just wanted to give you a quick thought today. And the scripture, Matthew 19:13, and it says, "Then were there brought unto him little children, that he should put his hands on them and pray." It doesn't say who brought the little children, but it had to have been the mamas. What mom does not want the best for their child? And these moms saw Jesus, knew what he was doing, and they wanted to bring their children. It wasn't just about them, but it was about their children. They wanted their children to be blessed. They wanted their children to be walking the right path. And so they brought their children to Jesus. And it made me think, how do we bring our children to Jesus? We pray for them. Every day, we call out their name in prayer. We pray a covering over them and protection around them. But it's not that they will be in a plastic bubble, but it will be that God will walk them through everything that they face, and that he'll be with them and he'll be drawing them to him and guiding their path and guiding their steps. My grandmother passed away last year at 98 years old. And I know for a fact that she brought her children to Jesus every day until she breathed her last breath. Her children, her children's children, and beyond. She was a great, great grandmother, and I know that she called out every single name every single day before the Lord. And it gave her peace and it gave her assurance, because we as mothers, we can't fix everything, even though we want to. And sometimes when we try to fix it, we can make it worse. But Jesus, he is the answer, he is the way, and we can put our trust and our faith and our most beloved thing in the world, our children, in his hands, because he loves them even more than we do. So I just want to give a shout out to every mom today. God bless you. I hope you have a fabulous day. Husbands, children, cook a beautiful meal for your family, for your lovely wife and the mother, and have a blessed day. I love you.
Well, he got upset. One day, he was just little, he had a bicycle, and he got upset about something. I don't know what it was. And he said, I am leaving. And so he took over down and went way up in the field and stayed up there for a long time. And his dad kind of got upset because he did that. But he knew he would be back, and sure enough, here he came back.
It was getting ready to get dark, and I was coming home. I put ketchup on my left arm and hand, and I got one of the big knives. And I went trotting by her just to see what kind of reaction I would get. And I got a big reaction. She said, I have got to go. And she hung up the phone. And she come running after me. Of course, I thought by then I was going to get killed. But she was just very relieved at that point about me, that I wasn't hurt. She thought I was. But it's no wonder her hair's gray, because I put a lot of pressure on her when I was little. Do you remember that story?
Yes, I do. And here he came up to where I was, and I looked, and there was something red all over his arms, and he had a knife. And it scared me so bad. But then I got to looking a little closer, and it was ketchup. He had put ketchup on there to look like something else.
Do you remember when I was 15 and you were trying to, a girl had, I was starting to like a girl, and you were trying to calm me down. And what did I tell you? You remember what I told you?
Yes, you told me to hide and watch.
I said, I was 15. I said, well, you just hide and watch.
I was already doing that.
Because I'm telling you, that 13-year-old girl that I liked, oh, she was the one. Well, it didn't take long to figure out she wasn't the one. And I had told Mom to hide and watch. Like I knew what I was talking about. I guess like every teenager thinks they know everything. I remember Mama kind of laughing at me, but she tried to tell me. You remember that?
Yes, I do.
This has been the most wonderful person. Prayed for me when I wasn't doing well, and is still the most awesome mom that ever lived. And I love her dearly. And
You're an awesome son, honey. Your mama loves you.
Welcome to the place where I've spent the last 47 days in quarantine. It's a little longer than that, but I say 47 days because that's how long I stayed in my home without going anywhere as far as getting in a vehicle and driving. I was out on the porch a little bit, perhaps, and that sort of thing, but that's about it. I figured that that was best for me. Everybody's a little bit different, but my health hadn't been the greatest for several months, so I decided I'd stay in. I'm also pretty much a homebody, so it hasn't really bothered me like it would a whole lot of people. On this Mother's Day, I just want to say how grateful I am to all of you mothers who have just gone above and beyond, especially during this rough time that we've been going through. It's not been easy for anybody, I'm sure. But I had a little thought that came to me last evening, and I was sitting in our office here at the house, and I looked out the window just as it was getting dark, and that darkened dark blue sky was there with the tops of the trees, touching, and the trees were dark. It was just so beautiful to see the darkness, like shadows looking type thing up, the trees touching the sky. It was so beautiful. And I thought, I see God. And I just stared and stared at that, and thoughts just kept rolling through me about seeing God in everything in this entire situation that we've been going through. I had been, as many of you know, any of you that know me that's watching this, I had been sick for 7 months. On the 24th of April, it marked 7 months. And I was very ill. I kept on going as best as I could. I went to urgent care, went to a doctor, finally did a teledoctor on April 1st. And when I did that teledoctor, she about fell out of her chair when I told her I had been coughing for months and months, and that I lost my sense of taste and smell completely. I could chew raw garlic and not taste it. I had lost my sense of taste and smell for 2 weeks. She said, you had COVID-19. I guarantee you, if we can test you, you had COVID-19. And I got to thinking about all that and how grateful I am that, today I could be even more sick or not even be here. My son, Jaron, was sick for 2.5 months. Josh was sick for weeks. We were coughing. Josh would call it coughing my lungs out. My husband ended up having it for a while. He wasn't feeling well. He had it for several weeks. Not to the extent probably that I did or anything like that, but I'm so grateful to the Lord that I'm still here today. I told her how I have stayed away from my in-laws' home for months. I went down there once or twice with a mask. She said, had you gone down there, you probably would have infected them and they wouldn't even be here today. She said, I guarantee you they wouldn't be here. So I see God. I see God in all of that. How he helped me, not even knowing what was going on at the time, that maybe what I had even back in November. She feels like that COVID-19 was even here in November. Who really knows? But she said that I probably would have infected so many more people. I tried to be very cautious when I went to church and everything. So I see God in all of that and him being there with me. On March 5th, at the height of when everything was starting to go crazy with COVID, we were all like thinking, do I need to go and buy food and masks and hand sanitizer and toilet paper? At the height of all that, the Lord blessed us with a grandson. Jeremy Carlos Tipton was born. And even then, they were taking all the precautions in the hospital. We were fortunate that we were just blessed that we were able to go in and see him when he was born. During that time, I was leaving the hospital and running to Walmart and trying to stock up on things to make sure we had food and everything. And plus, at the time, I still wasn't feeling the greatest, and so I didn't want to have to go out anymore, So God blessed us with that, and I see God in that. I see God in the fact that Jahida did not have to give birth during the time that there were COVID patients all through the hospitals. God was good to me. And the fact that Jahida had off for maternity leave for months, and she's still off during the height of this. She works in critical care. She could have been around all these COVID patients all during that time. I see God in that. I also see God in the fact that my son, Jaron, had moved from the ER, the ED, the emergency department at the hospital, to another area of nursing where he was not exposed to everything nearly as much as he would have been had he been in the emergency room. Many of those nurses and doctors working in there contracted the virus, and Jaron did not, and he was much safer where he was working. And I see God in that. I thank him for that. I see God in the fact that people here in our church, the Felicianos and the Peterses in general, were delivering food to our door. They knew I did not want to go out. I don't live in a spirit of fear, but I wanted to be cautious and be sensible, being that my immune system is already weak. I did not want to be running out. They were bringing stuff to our door constantly. Every week, the Felicianos were delivering things to our door, and my husband's salad supplies for his diet that he's on. And they've just blessed us in so many ways. The Walkers brought us a delicious meal one day, and other people that I can't even go there and name all the names, but I did want to give a shout out to those people in particular. I see God in that. I'm just so blessed. I have had friends from California to Florida to Michigan to Virginia blessing me and encouraging me, and I tried to encourage them and just let them know what's been going on in our lives, and we just keep telling each other this too shall pass and the Lord is in it. And I see God in my friends and through my friends that he has given me. I see God in my friends Debbie and Lee, who I met at a yard sale. They live in Dallastown, and we talk to each other almost every single day. We keep in touch, and we have tried to help each other, and I pick stuff up and drop it at her door, and she's brought things to my door, and we have just helped each other throughout the year. She's blessed my family so tremendously, and I see God in that. I see God in all of my friends that are helping me through everything that I've been going through. God's been so good to me. I thank God for all you beautiful mothers and wives and widows and single moms. I know this is Mother's Day, but every year if I have an opportunity to say anything, I make it very clear that we're just not honoring mothers alone, because so many of you have a role like a mother right now, that your kids may be grown and gone, or maybe you never had children, but you help other people, whether it's your own spouse who is not feeling well, or whether it's your elderly parents or some neighbors that you're helping. All the sacrifices that you make, I honor you today, and I see God in you. You care for people just like the Lord would, many of you. You know, what would Jesus do is a saying that they say, and many of you do that, and you're helping. We're not living in a perfect world right now. It's far from perfect. And if you look around, though, you can see God still in this less than perfect world and life. Your faith isn't perfect right now. Your family isn't perfect right now for many of you, but yet you're hanging in there, and you know that God is in control. We sing a song, Jesus is at the center of it all, and he is. He's at the center of it all. I've had a couple days, I'll freely admit it, I've had a couple days where I felt very, very down, depressed, if you want to call it, I don't even know. But just in contacting a few friends and speaking to the Lord and saying, man, this is one of those days, rainy and dreary and not feeling well, but the Lord's always there, and there's a brighter tomorrow, and people prayed for me. I know many of you have prayed for me as I have prayed for you. We've kept in touch with each other. I thank God that salvation doesn't come from being a perfect mother or a perfect caretaker. That's not how salvation works. And I thank God for that. I see God in my salvation, and how he has helped me through thick and thin and everything that I've gone through. I lost an uncle yesterday. It wasn't to COVID-19, but I lost an uncle, and I think back on his life and how he loved the Lord, how he served him. And I know that there's a place that we will all go one day, and we'll be together. My father passed on many years ago. I still have my mother, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, and I give a shout out to them on this beautiful Mother's Day. I thank God for them. I call them often. I ask them things and ask them to explain things to me, how to cook things, how to make things, what would they do about this, what would they do about that. And then I try to fulfill that same role for other people, friends of mine or some of the younger ladies in the church. I try to be there for them as well. And I'm just more than blessed to still have my mother and mother-in-law. During this time of quarantine, Bishop has said this so many times, consecrate yourselves to God. Try to make this imperfect world a little bit more perfect. For those around you, even, make your home a place of worship where you can feel God. When you walk in, I know you can't have others come in right now. Some of you do have large families, though, and everyone's living together. Do your best to try to make it a place of peace and love and joy, and make some memories that you won't forget. We'll never forget this time. And some of you have experienced holidays, birthdays, anniversaries, and other events during this time. There's going to be memories that you'll never forget. Bishop and I celebrated our 40th anniversary on March 22nd while we were quarantined on a Sunday. and we made a meal. We would have been out for dinner, but we made a meal and we sat down and we ate together. And that's a memory that we will not forget, how we were here all alone. And normally, even for an anniversary, we love to be with our children. We've always been that way. We didn't want to just go off on our anniversary. We wanted our kids to be with us all the time. And this time, we had no choice but to be alone. But we made some memories. Make some good memories. You know, that, how do they say it? Take those lemons and make some lemonade. So don't feel condemned if all you mothers and ladies, if you can't make masks, if you can't sew, don't feel condemned. If you can't make the best of meals while you're there, open up that box of Hamburger Helper and do the best that you can. If you can even get some hamburger right now. I know that that has become an issue as well. If you haven't been the best school teacher and you feel like you're a failure at teaching your children, don't be discouraged by that. Don't be discouraged about that 10 or 15 pounds that you gained during this time while eating too many ring dings and potato chips and all the good junk that everybody's been bringing me. Don't feel condemned about those things. Life is going to go on. Things are going to change. You know, think of the things that you are good at and do those things. If it's just sitting and reading books with your children, or make a video. People have been putting videos out there, I heard, about whatever it is that they're good at. You know, people put stuff on YouTube or they place it on their Facebook page or wherever. So if you're one of the fortunate ones who's not minding the change in our lives, do me a favor and reach out to people at the POY or your neighbors, wherever. If you are not afraid to be going out and getting sick, put on your gloves, put on your mask, follow all the rules, and call some people. Call some people in the church or friends and family, and many of you, I'm sure, are already doing this. But if you're bored to death and you're sitting there and have nothing to do, check in with some people. Call them, make phone calls. It's all I can do to keep up with my texting and phone calls, trying to check on people. I still have not contacted everybody from the church. I've done a lot, and we have our home groups set up, and those people are checking in with you. If you're not on a home group, let us know if you would like to be put in someone's home group, and someone will check on you and help you. We take your prayer requests, and we're sending those out. Rest assured, we're all praying. All of us are praying for each other, for you. Every one of those prayer requests that comes through, there's many, many people receiving them. And by the way, if you're not receiving the prayer requests, there's a glitch in the app. That we've tried several apps, and for some reason, some people are having a hard time getting the prayer requests. Maybe someone living in your home actually is getting them and you're not, and maybe they can share them with you until we can get a better system. But we have 80 some people on our prayer team right now that whenever a prayer request is sent out, that's how many people see that if they all go through. And so there are a lot of prayers that, you know, we don't always tell the prayers that are being answered. Tons and tons of prayers are being answered. The Lord has been so good to us throughout these things. Even the other day, Holly Erb mentioned that little Eliza was spiking a fever. Her mom thought she was spiking a fever and not feeling well. And we prayed. And within just an hour or two, Holly said she went home for lunch to check on her. And she said she did not have a fever. And it was gone. What her mother thought was a fever had already dissipated. And she seemed to be doing better. I haven't checked on her since, but things like that. I know Brother Peters was not feeling well a day or so ago, and already he is up and moving, you know, not feeling perfect. But those are the kind of things that we need to just really thank the Lord for. I've always said, you've heard me say it before, we are not grateful enough when something good does happen. You know, when the Lord does answer a prayer, and when that check comes through, that unexpected check in the mail, we don't thank him enough. We're just like, oh boy, a check in the mail. But we need to say, God, thank you. Thank you for answered prayers. Thank you for the stimulus check. I didn't know where my food was going to come from for the next few weeks. I didn't know how I was going to pay my rent. We got the stimulus check. God has just always been there. If you can try to find the good throughout all this, throughout the process, write the things down if you need to, because it's so easy to allow the bad to overpower the good. We must stop that. All we see and hear is COVID, 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 and people are dying, people are sick, and people are dying. What is the good? What are the good things? Can you write those good things down? Write them down. Write down the fact that you have a friend somewhere. I have a cup sitting here, a Yeti cup from my friend Anne. And Anne Kleindens bought me this. Whenever I get this cup out, I think of her, and I'm so blessed. Write those things down. I thank God for my friend Anne. I thank God for my friend Danae and my friend Andrea, my friend Lori and my friend Shirley. And you write these names down and say, God, thank you for them. Thank you. Thank you. Bless them, Lord, and the way that they have blessed me. Do those kind of things. Think of the good. Thank you for every little thing that you have. And it's going to change your day. It will rock your world, instead of all you mothers and ladies today thinking like, wow, I should have been sitting in Red Lobster today eating and I can't be. And instead I'm at home and I actually have to cook because my husband can't. And, you know, the kids are driving me wild. Write down the fact that you actually do have food to eat and that you are not sick and you are healthy enough to go ahead and cook your meal. Write those things down and thank the Lord for them. If you're watching this today and you're currently not experiencing the joy of being part of a church who truly loves you and cares for you, and we'll check on you and we'll stay connected with you as best we can until we have our next service or drive-in service, which was so amazing on Sunday. If you did not experience that, you have to. You're in the safety of your own car. People still had masks on as they sat in their cars. Restrooms are available if you must go in. We tried to keep the service under an hour so that people would not have to get out and go into the restroom, that kind of thing, but it's there if you must. So there shouldn't be much fear of any kind. You know, if you are worried about having to get out of the car, you know, just have your mask. You should be okay. Just wash your hands, have your sanitizer. It was beautiful. This is just a shout out to all the workers, everybody who poured themselves into this event. We've never done anything like it. It was amazing. The sound people, Steve Pappas and his family. It was amazing from the beginning to the end. I came home and I said, you know, well, we gathered at my son's house after church, and I said that we couldn't have had a more perfect day. And it ended with being with my 10 family members. It was just perfect in every way, from the weather to the service, the sermon, the singing. Everything was beautiful. And to see everybody and to wave to all of you as you pulled into the parking lot, it was amazing. If we do that again, we'll see you there. But if you're not connected to a family, a church family, you don't have anyone in your life really to speak of who can speak of the good things of the Lord and to pray with you and pray over you. We can mail you a prayer cloth if you're sick. We can't come to you right now. At our service, we laid hands on cars and prayed for people instead of reaching in and touching anyone. The ministry had their masks on and laid hands on vehicles. We asked what your prayer request was and then prayed. God is still answering prayers. He knows all about this. He is in control. Just contact us if you need anything at all, you want to be connected to our church in any way. We can even give you a Bible study by way of Zoom or Skype or FaceTime, whatever. We can give you a Bible study until we can actually meet with you. And we're looking forward to being able to meet in small groups in our homes to begin with, once they loosen everything and we can go to the first phase here in York County. So I just want to say, in wrapping this up, that I love you all so much. I'm so proud of you, all you mothers, all you ladies who are acting as mothers right now. Even though you're not actually a mother, you have been just beautiful to so many people and so kind. And I just want you to continue on. Just keep trusting the Lord for everything that you do. And He's there. Don't ever forget that He's there. I'm here for you if you need me as well. And we have all of our church leaders, all of our ministry team, our ministers' wives, and our ladies director, our men's director. There's many, many people that you can reach out to and stay connected to. So do not fear. God is with you. God bless you on this Mother's Day.
I shall break through. You are the God.